Though Steven is not around, we still have to break it down like they've won the game a million times.
Well, actually, they didn't really win the game at all.
Surviving no way knows. Surviving no way knows. Wigler and RHAP will talk about. We'll take a chance and get voted out. They know it all.
Yeah, that's right.
Woo!
That is right. Hey, everybody, welcome to Caroline's on Broadway for Live Know-It-Alls number 3.
We did it!
I don't know if you guys can hear this on the podcast, but we got a huge crowd here tonight. Let them hear you on the podcast.
Yes!
It's a big crowd. It's a good crowd.
It's crazy.
I'm here with Josh Wigler.
Yeah, Stephen Fishback's cousin!
Steven's cousin is
Steven's
here.
cousin. Like Steven, but shorter and chubbier.
Like,
And never played Survivor
that's
once.
like your Twitter handle?
Yeah, that's my new Twitter handle.
All right, so we've got so much to get to. Great episode tonight. Really, really a lot of stuff to talk through. We got a lot of a big crowd. We've got a lot of survivors here. We're going to hear from them later on tonight. We're going to hear from you guys, get some of your questions. The way I want to do it tonight, I know that the internet reception is a little spotty in here, but if you can tweet questions, use the hashtag KIA Live. Eliza, you'll have your chances.
Woo!
If
2 minutes in and an F-bomb.
Okay, if it's not working, we'll get a line and we'll sort of filter through the question. We'll do that at the end of the show, okay? So that's what's going to go on with this, but let's get into talking about this episode. Of course, for those of you guys listening on the podcast, The Whole Works is coming. We'll do exit interview with Shireen on Thursday. Plus, I'll talk with John Carroll on the full recap podcast of this episode. But Josh,
Johnny Pots and Pans, you couldn't get Sean Rector for Shireen?
no, well, I don't know the boot order.
Okay.
So let's go into talking about this episode, and Shireen goes home. Very sad to see Shireen go home, at least from where I'm sitting. Josh, did Shireen do anything particularly wrong tonight, or was this just a case of this is a threat, this is somebody who is playing hard, we have to take her out?
Yeah, I think it's a combo. I mean, I think she says it herself in the final words. She's owning, she says, I killed myself out of this game. I did things wrong. I didn't do things right. I think that we see it with Abby, even though the fight is between Abby and PG, somehow Shireen is the one who's blown out of the water on that, and she's more offended by the fact that Shireen didn't comfort her. So I think people management. I think that if you talk to Shireen, we'll both talk to Shireen tomorrow, I think that that's going to be one of the top things that she says is, I didn't manage my troops. I didn't manage Abby, and she missed a pivotal moment to bond with somebody who was really hurting. And Terry Dietz of all people, the social Terry Dietz. The social game is
How about
alive.
that?
And he's the guy who swooped in. So good on Terry, and I think Shireen would say bad on me.
A couple of themes that I noticed emerging in this episode. There was a lot of whatever happened. History repeats itself. And there is this through line, and good on Jeff for picking up and remembering the past. Again, it was Survivor 28 and 30 that he's remembering.
Doesn't have to dig too deep.
I don't know
on
if
that.
he's going to remember, like, if PG is doing something the same as the last time.
I don't think he'll remember if PG is doing something different from last time.
But that being said, Jeff is the person that keys in on this. Spencer, this is just like day 12 when you're sitting there at Luzon. Hey, Tasha and Cass, keep me, not Jatia. And he's sitting there in that same spot as he was before. And again, with Shireen in that position of there's a conflict and a rescue. And I don't know if it's quite apples to apples, but there is this narrative of these second chancers are having the same things happen to them again. Are you buying that? Or is that just convenient storytelling?
I think it's a little bit of convenient storytelling, but it's hard to deny that's a very similar situation as what happened to her. Is Shireen felt isolated. She felt like she didn't have a friend in the world out there in Worlds Apart during the final stretch of the game. And here it's happening again with Abby. It's very ironic. You see it that way, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Spencer thing a lot more so than the Shireen thing. I think that with the Shireen thing, I think there's parallels, but I don't think it's quite the same. But it's funny how Spencer, and we talk about Spencer always in these terms of it's either ecstasy or what's the opposite?
Right, I think this time it was
agony. Yeah, the agony and the ecstasy for Spencer. He's high, he's getting ready to kick that football, and it's always pulled out from him.
Yeah, it was frustration and exasperation this time versus ecstasy and devastation. I don't know if this is an upgrade or just an analog.
Poor Spencer. Can anything ever go right for him for more than a day?
Yeah, the young sad.
It's always looking like things that's like young sad. It's gonna hashtag.
Hashtag.
Yeah, it's always looking like things are going to go well for him, and then all of a sudden he just gets the rug pulled out from him, and certainly he's saying...
Episode 2 is a rough spot for the young lad. It really is. It's not good.
That second tribal council.
Yeah,
that's
it's tough. That's hard.
That's where it usually goes wrong
At least
for
he
him.
knew it was coming going into this thing. Like, he had a little bit of time to prepare for it. He knew that he had to vote for Shireen, but he cried. We had a weepy Spencer. It's very new. It's a new speed.
Only Chaos Cass on her Survivor pool had Spencer crying by episode 2.
For very different reasons.
Yeah. So that was an interesting theme of history repeating itself, and I'm sure that we'll talk about that some more tonight. But there was this other through line which I noticed between the two tribes of, is this a bunch of gamers playing a game, or are there real emotions going on? And even Cass, of all people, saying like, hey, I thought it was just going to be coming out here for, this is people, everybody, don't hate the player, hate the game, people playing the game. But then, and we'll talk about that certainly in regards to Andrew and Steven, but going back to this other piece with Abby Maria, this wasn't just a game for her. This was real emotions, and this was Terry came to her rescue. She doesn't care about the numbers. She cares about who was there for her. So do you think that, was it a mistake to come into the season for players like Spencer and Shireen to think about it's just a game, and maybe Steven to that degree, where there are people playing with emotions, or is that just for camera, and is that people just saying that it's different than it actually is?
Right. Well, I think you get it in the episode when they're talking about, I forgot that Survivor sucks. Like, I forgot that coming out here, like, you remember the good stuff, but, you get back out here and it's hot and it's muggy and you're hurting and all of this stuff, and that's what everyone's saying, and I think that they forget about the emotional component as well. And I think with an All-Star season, when we've seen All-Star seasons in the past, everybody can just really get into game bot mode. Everyone can play the numbers, play strategically, play all of that stuff. And I think that we're seeing a decent amount of that, but I think that there is an emotional component that maybe, certainly Spencer came into this wanting to do that. We saw that in the first episode. I want to have more conversations in my first 3 days here than I had in all of Cagayan, and it seemed like it was going really well. But in this one, he's the first to admit, I screwed up. I've been talking only strategy to a lot of these people. So I do think a lot of people have forgotten about that. And I think it's a balance, and the balance did not tip in Spencer and Shireen's favor. What do you think that they're playing too hard, too fast?
It's hard because we haven't seen everything. Like, one of the things that I had said in the preseason was, I said, Shireen and Spencer, this is a red flag for me. Will this be the new Max and Shireen?
Yeah.
Will this be the new Max and Shireen? But we didn't see that on the show. That's fan fiction to say that was necessarily the case, except from coming from Jeff Varner, that he seems to pair them together. But we didn't see too many scenes of them going off or alienating themselves from the group. Spencer talks about how, I'm not going to keep making so many alliances. I'm not going to keep doing that. So I guess that is happening, but it wasn't something that we really saw clearly on the show.
Well, I think that you see it in the fact that PG and Wentworth, who seemed really tight with them, were kind of willing to just, give the shrug emoticon very quickly and just say, well, we got to move on.
Yeah, that was quick.
We gotta get going. We gotta make a new thing. So it must have been clear to all these people, unless you're saying you think that this is a Jeff Varner fabrication, that Varner is the guy who's writing this narrative.
I don't think it's a fabrication, but it is. Jeff Varner had said in the preseason that he wanted to target Spencer, and we were very quick to say, boy, Jeff Varner turned on his pregame alliance pretty quick, but we saw this week that he did double back and come back to them, and he didn't quite throw the baby out with the bathwater, where he was fine to pull the trigger on voting out Vetus last week to avoid that tie vote.
It was a lesson. He wanted to teach a lesson.
I'm not buying that. That seems very fan fiction-y to me. That I only voted that way because I needed to teach Terry a lesson, and this was.
It seems like it worked, you know.
Well, yeah, it did. It did seem like it worked.
It's catching on.
All right, there's so many different parts of this to talk through. Let's go back to the Abby Maria thing, because one of the things that you've always talked about, where you have always proclaimed your love for the Keith Nails, for the Woos,
Nail mail.
for the wild cards that are out there, the people that you have to figure out how to defuse the Abby Maria bomb.
Yeah.
That Abby Maria bomb exploded on seemingly PG, but it was Shireen that caught the shrapnel.
Yeah, she got the radiation poisoning.
First off, how did PG escape being the person that Abby Maria looked at as the object of her scorn?
That's a great question. Do you have an answer? Because that was shocking to me that PG was able to rebound from that so fast. And I think that PG's very smart. She sees where this is going and tucks herself in with Varner. I think Varner sees her as very valuable. And I think that it was really just a matter of PG recognizing which way the wind is blowing, and she's smart enough to get away from it. I'm more impressed that Abby is willing to cast her lot in with PG.
I really was, not since Jervis and Joel in season 1, and Jervis said that women are the dumbest thing since cows, and Joel got voted off for that. Has somebody been able to sort of shirk the blame on somebody else?
Yeah, it's good. So you were impressed with Abby last week.
Yeah.
How about this week? How are you feeling?
Well,
How are you feeling about that?
not great.
Not great?
But I will have to say, Abby Maria did walk up on two people talking about her. I mean, I don't know what kind
Ninja
of
stealth mode.
restraint
That's
you wanted Abby Maria to like PG and Shireen are talking. It's dark. You can't really tell where they are. But Abby Maria's like, guys, I am right here.
It is amazing.
I am right here. I am right behind you. Like, oh no. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, literally, I heard everything you said.
Yeah. You are dead.
Yeah. You are dead to me.
Busted.
Yeah.
So Abby Maria then sees, and then Abby Maria goes off. But I guess the worst part of this, okay, they were talking about Abby Maria, that's bad. But then compounded was that they're in the majority, and then they're talking bad. They're making fun of Abby Maria, where then they're giving the opportunity for the people on the bottom to go back and say, hey, just so you know, we're on your side. Everybody's making fun of you. We're not doing it.
Yeah, and to your point about the bomb, I think Abby is an interesting player to me in that she's volatile and susceptible to that kind of charm. For Terry to swoop in that moment, to have that conversation, have a 2-hour sit down with Abby, is not going to work on every player who's got their feelings hurt. Someone, you know your feelings are going to get hurt on Survivor, and a rational, strong player is probably going to be like, oh, this person's trying to sucker me into a deal that might not be so good for me. But for Abby, she's willing to roll with it really, really quickly, and I think that that's the type of player Abby is, and that's a really dangerous, unpredictable element, and I think that's a big part of what makes Survivor fun. So I love having a player like Abby around.
One of the things that because Josh and I have recently watched all 30 seasons of Survivor. Does anybody listen to that?
Don't remind me.
And one of the things that we talked about, sort of like when it was over, like, did we learn anything?
Nothing.
But I do feel like one of the biggest things that we took away from going back and watching all of Survivor, it's like, sure, there are times where people are able to get together based on numbers. But it seems like in Survivor, and probably also in life, the thing that is the most persuasive is the emotional argument. And for me, Spencer and Shireen specialize in these conversations based on the numbers.
Right.
They're talking about the numbers. Hey,
the numbers loophole.
You vote. Yeah, numbers loophole.
Yeah.
I figured out the numbers. I've been thinking about this. You vote for us. 3 vote this way. We get those 2. You guys vote for us. We'll have the majority. But what worked here with Abby Maria was not the numbers. Abby Maria does not care about your numbers. Yeah. Abby Maria cared about the emotions of who was there for her. I can't believe you turned your back on me. One of the things that bonded us was that in your season that people had your back, and that the fact that you didn't have my back for Abby Maria, she didn't care. She didn't care about the numbers. It was the emotional argument. And good for Terry, who was never able to make an emotional argument in Survivor Panama.
This is not his thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Good for Terry.
Yeah.
A good job by Terry being able to work with Abby Maria, and Varner gets an assist there, and they're all able to work with Abby Maria. And for those guys, they really were able to turn things around where they were down in the numbers, specifically for Terry and for Wu and for Kelly Wigglesworth, who was hardly seen in this episode.
How about Wu just saying no, man?
Yeah. Well, how about the great...
Sorry, but no. No.
As Spencer or Shireen was working on Wu was giving us like a great like Alec Christie face.
Yeah.
what? What? Whoa.
Me?
And he's like, no way.
Yeah.
No.
Whoa.
How about no?
Yeah.
Like, woo, come on.
Yeah, but that's not really woo. Woo will always like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, let me think about it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fascinating about that scene with trying to persuade Woo to get back on their side. Woo, woo, woo.
Hashtag number 2.
Woo woo. I think it was really fascinating to try to get him, that it seemed like it was Shireen that was the person selling to Woo, where Spencer has this 38-day backstory with Woo from Survivor Cagayan. Don't you think that was weird that Shireen was the one in the driver's seat and Spencer was in the back seat letting her drive?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it hasn't worked too well every time Spencer's tried to talk to Woo before, so may as well let someone else have a shot.
That's right.
You know? Let someone else have a shot.
You're saying Spencer was like, have at it.
Have at it.
I've tried.
It's not gonna work. But
Good luck.
I've tried. What do you think about this from Varner's perspective? You know, Varner was in a position last week where first off, Varner is incredible.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the survivors are chanting for Jeff Varner.
Jeff Varner is proof positive that this idea for a season was phenomenal. Bring back the people from the past who did not get those shots, who were not enough slots back in All-Stars, and are we ever going to see a guy like Jeff Varner again? Bring those people back. They're not all Jeff Varner, but Jeff Varner's incredible. So talk about it from his perspective, because Varner was, he was the guy who's into KO. He's got the beach people. He's got the shelter people. He could go one way or the other. The shelter people were his people from before the game, according to what he told me, Dalton Ross, Gordon Holmes, everybody in the pregame. He turned his back on them last time. He is back with them very eagerly on day 4, morning of day 4. He's ready to switch right back. From his perspective, was this the right call to swing back to Terry and Wigglesworth?
I feel like Jeff Varner is in a really good spot right now. Probably even better than the spot he was in at the end of the last episode.
And you don't think that this makes him look too shady? Just a little bit?
Well, certainly I think that's been the story about him from the get-go, of that he is in this great position. He's so revered by everybody. Will he overplay his way out of this game? That's my concern.
He's balls to the wall.
With him. Now, will it, like that crab or whatever, bite his ass eventually? Right. But for Jeff, I feel like that coming out of last week's episode, he was at the bottom of a Shireen, Spencer, Kelly Wentworth, maybe PG, Abby Maria thing. He was at the bottom of that. Now he's not. Snowy says
Michael Snow.
Jeff Varner is not a bottom.
Wow.
So now he's able to now flip that around this week.
Night is made.
Flip that around this week. And now he's at the top of something with. There you go.
Stop.
With Terry. Yeah,
with Terry.
Him and Terry are there in the better position in the alliance. And then you also have other people there with Kelly, with Woo, with Abby Maria. Now, that's all going to change next week based on our preview. But coming out of that tribal council, I think he is in a better position than he was coming into this episode on day 4.
Right. And I guess when he started making those moves and he starts saying like, well, Terry, this is what I'm trying to show you. And he starts to kind of, get his way back in good with those people. I thought that the majority of these beach people would be, turned off by that. But very quickly, Wentworth says to him, I'm not talking to Shireen for the rest of the day. You won't see me having a conversation. So I thought that it might be received poorly by the people that he had been in an alliance with. But the further along that day got, the more and more these people seemed open to that. I would have thought that would have been a major turnoff.
I think that there is still a lot of anybody but me going on for these players, and especially the people that are not really there to sort of push the pile themselves. The people like Kelly Wentworth, like PG, are sort of like, oh, it's not me? Okay, fine, whatever I'm good with whatever you're going to do. Just don't turn it around and vote me out.
Yeah.
Let me stay.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is this comment from Varner about Shireen setting the pace of the game. She set the pace of the game with the Vetus vote, and Spencer and all those people who voted out Vetus. The pace has been set, and I wanted to show that to Terry. I wanted to show that to Wigglesworth. And We talked about that last week on Know-It-Alls. Do you clip Vitas? Is that the guy to get rid of? And that's a really big threat. If you're Spencer, you're saying, like, come after people like me. And it turns out that that's what this tribe turns right around and does. When you still have Abby hanging there, she's an easy vote to snip. And now we're coming after someone like Shireen, who, to her credit, is really great with the numbers, who knows the strategy, who knows this show and knows the game very well. She kind of she rolled out the red carpet for herself to get sniped.
Okay.
Sucks.
Let's just go back to that last vote last week where we felt like the new school people, got the jump on the old school people. They took out Vitas, who was with them because Vitas was a threat. Hindsight 2020, was it a mistake to vote out Vitas in that spot?
For Shireen, yeah!
Why?
Because I think what I just said. I think that it set the pace, it set the tone, it set who we're coming after, it set why we're coming after people. And I think for Shireen, who's not the strongest challenge competitor necessarily, except when it comes to puzzles, and even in this one, it didn't go great. I think that she is somebody who is targetable at this stage of the game. And I think that when you're going after threats, but you're looking for reasons to hang on to people, if you're weighing a Spencer and Shireen, I don't know that everybody is predicting necessarily we're going to 3 tribes next week. I don't know that that's something that everyone is thinking about, and if we're thinking about preserving challenge strength, now we got to take shots at Shireen. So I think that she did set the pace. I think Spencer set the pace. I think, I hold to what I said last week, that if they are going after someone from the shelter people, you should go after Vitas because he's the gamer, he's the manipulator, he's all of this stuff. But I do think that for Shireen, she set the pace.
And I'll tell you, hindsight's 2020. If they go with the Vitas plan and vote out Abby Maria last week, they still have the numbers 5-4, and I don't think that Shireen is voted out because the Abby Maria thing doesn't happen.
She hit the gas, which just bit her ass.
Yeah. So again, hindsight's 2020. You couldn't have known what was going to happen, but you play with fire when you have an alliance with Abby Maria. And it's one thing when you're down in the numbers and you need her, but just look at how Tan Dang worked out. Keeping Abby Maria as one of your numbers, it's sort of...
Not like they had the chance, but...
It's good in the short term, but she's one of the reasons why people in Survivor Philippines didn't want to work with that group, because they didn't want to be around Abby Maria because she was too toxic of a person.
So you know that cast picture at the Worlds Apart reunion?
Yes.
And how you on the podcast, you were talking about Sierra's next.
Sierra
follow
was
the
next.
line because Vitas was in the first booth.
Yes.
Who's right in front of her 1 row down?
What do you think? It's going diagonal?
It's going down.
It's going diagonal?
Shireen was next, and I think Wu is in front of
all
her.
right, well, we'll see. Now, I don't think it goes diagonal.
Final destination.
I don't
it's
think
a straight
that
down,
works.
a straight line
All right,
down.
we've talked so much about what's going on at TKO. Let's talk about Bion. Were you guys happy Steven didn't get voted off tonight?
Yes.
All I'm going to say is that guy is lucky that he is on a tribe with Joe for a lot of reasons. That is
Survivor MacGyver.
That is one lucky guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Look.
We got the notice. We were warned.
Yeah.
We
All
were
right.
warned.
Eliza is heckling us. Okay. All right. Well, you'll have
We're
your
on
chance.
watch.
You'll have your chance to talk. Okay. So with Steven tonight, of course, that he was a big part of what was going on. We didn't see a ton over on the Bion tribe, but there was a whole segment where I was a little confused about what was going on. Andrew Savage started opening up his heart and telling this story about his wife, and I was like, oh my God, did something terrible happen to Andrew's wife?
Yeah, I was watching with Rob.
I'm like, oh my God.
He's like, did she die?
Is she sick? Did something happen? And the punchline of the story was that he misses her. I just want to make sure. I got that right. Was that what happened?
Yeah.
That
could have gotten really dark.
I was like, whoa, oh my God, they took me
Yeah.
on such a ride.
Yeah, it was.
I was like crying. I was like, oh, she's okay. Okay, thank goodness.
It's dramatic.
But again, so it was a really great edit tonight for Andrew Savage and what's going on. And Jeremy was certainly upset about what was going on because his wife Val is home and she's pregnant. And so very nice times for Jeremy and Val. And so Steven ends up saying to Andrew, "Hey, Jeremy, think he's looking for the idol?" And so Andrew is really like, can you believe the nerve on this guy?
Fishbach.
Talking about Steven Fishbach.
Fishbach.
Typical Fishbach.
Classic.
Talking about looking for the idol. Now, the irony of last week, where we saw Steven out, only for a minute or two. He was looking. He just happened. He was looking for the idol, and it was Kimmy Kappenberg that said about Steven, "Hey, you think he's out looking for the idol? Where was the admonishment of Kimmy Kappenberg last week?"
I know.
Hey,
it's on the editing room floor somewhere.
Yeah, this speaks to what kind of person Kimmy Kappenberg is. Somebody with low morals, somebody with no values, somebody with no loyalty, somebody with no dignity.
Not one of Savage's people. Yeah.
What was that a cheap shot from Andrew to say that? Okay, Steven is looking for it said he's looking about the idol. Hold on, let me talk, Eliza. But it's one thing to say that, boy, this Fishback, this guy's a real smarty pants. We should get rid of him. But to say that he has no dignity, was that a bridge too far? All right, easy.
And Max Dawson high fives Eliza.
Easy.
So we don't.
Yeah, so why did the Wine
New York
and Cheese
liberals
Alliance is here in full
Wine
force?
and Cheese supporting Stephen Fishback. Yeah, no dignity? That's low.
No dignity, no doubt,
No
right?
dignity, no doubt. Yeah.
Another
Steven's
hashtag.
got dignity.
Yeah. So for Steven, really in a tough spot here with this group to bring up, hey, do you think that Jeremy is out looking for the idol? Now, what do you think about Steven trying to throw some shade at Jeremy, trying to put the target on him?
I think that's the wrong guy. I think that Jeremy seems in really good with Savage, and I think that Steven knows that he's in a tough spot on this tribe, that he is surrounded by people like Jeremy and Joe and Savage and Keith who are really getting along. And I think to throw Jeremy under the bus in front of Savage is probably not the play.
Is there anything that Steven could be doing at this point to get in the good graces of Andrew Savage? It seems like no matter what is going on, Andrew has it out to get him.
Andrew Savage read the Survivor Wiki on Steven, and he's out on Steven. I don't know that there's anything he could edit the wiki.
Should Steven have edited the wiki?
He could edit the wiki, but I think retroactively that's not really going to work.
Yeah. Boy, Steven is
I don't
really...
know. It's tough. I feel like, first impressions are hard to get past, and from the jump, these are two people in the pregame who, there were interviews with these guys. It says, who would you target first? Who do you want out first? Savage says Fishbach. And Fishbach says Andrew. So these two people were out for each other immediately. I think that that's a hard thing to turn around. These aren't necessarily simpatico personalities. I think it's going to be difficult. I think the great news for Steven is that these tribes are no more pretty soon.
Yes.
So I think we've been really worried about Fishback because it's been a rough 2 episodes. It is not looking like he isn't. Chaos Cass looks fantastic next to Stephen Fishback. That's crazy. That's insane. But
Cass is looking pretty good so far.
Great.
There's been nothing to imply that Cass is going home anytime soon.
This is a very positive edit for Chaos Cass.
And Chaos Cass was even the one saying, like, boy, I thought these were all going to be game bots, but we're really being emotional.
I'm going to be a good person, said Chaos Cass
I'm
2
gonna...
episodes before she betrays all of them.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I think that, for Steven, he's been in a really difficult spot in this tribe. He's obviously low man on the totem pole with these people, and I think for similar reasons that we're seeing a Vetus or a Shireen targeted. I think that whether or not it's true that everyone's looking at Steven as this enormous threat strategically. He's got the people reputation, he's got know-it-alls, he's got all of this stuff. He's thought he was a finalist. They don't remember the final tribal council, but he was a finalist. Yeah. And he's got a big reputation. I think people are really worried about him, and there's a reason why it's a compliment in its own way, but it's very good for Steven that things are about to switch up, because if he, Bayon is very strong. If he stays on this tribe, it's not great news. So for things to switch up, this is the best news that could have happened for Steven. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, this is a lucky break for Steven.
Really great, really great.
I'm sure at some point there'll be a commercial that'll totally reveal what the 3 tribes are, like sure. Tomorrow. Yeah. But we'll see. Hopefully he ends up getting a good draw. Were you surprised? I was really startled to see, here's a puzzle. Here's where Fishbach is going to shine, and he's going to be in on the puzzle. That he wasn't in the starting group on the puzzle.
Right.
He wasn't one of the people to volunteer to do the puzzle. If you're Steven, is it best to try? Was this a chance to have that hero moment, or could he only have put himself in worse graces with Andrew? Is it like a no-win situation where if they win without him, hey, I don't have to go to tribal council. If they lose and he's part of it, then it makes it even easier to vote him out.
Yeah, I don't think that there's much benefit to Steven Steven stepping in there. I really don't. I think that he's on a tribe with a lot of people who are really eager to play the challenges. I think let those people win or lose. And this also seems to be a tribe that isn't going to be, we're not throwing challenges. We're not saving Kelly Remington. We're not doing that. We're playing to win. That's what a Savage does. That's what a Joe does. These guys are playing to win. And I think that he doesn't feel like these guys are gonna, tank this thing to get rid of him. So I think that, just sit back and let it go. What do you think? Do you think Steven should have stepped up?
I mean, I feel like that Steven, what his value proposition for his tribe is sort of like, hey, I'm the guy who's good at puzzles.
Yeah.
Right? I think that you would want him in there.
Is that what he says? Hi, Steven Fishback, good at puzzles.
Yes!
He never introduced
Ladies
himself
out
like
there
to
that
me.
met him at the last one, isn't that what his opening line?
Yikes.
But
Revealing.
I know. I feel like that's what like if somebody's looking at him. Okay, if you're not going to be one of the people that's going to be our athletes, then are you one of the? Yeah, right, Eliza. So now Eliza's even turning on Steven.
Eliza, you think that...
Yes, Eliza turned on Steven. Yes. Okay. All right. So, anything else before we jump into talking to some of these people that are here?
No, let's do that. Let's. I mean,
Okay.
They came all the
All
way
right.
here, right?
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this a little differently. Okay. All right. I've got. Where's Alex? Where's Alex? Over here. Okay.
Alex
All
Kidwell.
right. So keep my timer going. I want 4-minute intervals. I want to start doing some cycles through here. And so here's what I want to do. Okay, Max. I want to talk to you first. All right. Max Dawson is here. All right. Let me give me a cue when 4 minutes is up. Okay. All right, so here's Max Dawson. Max Dawson, everybody. Woo! Can you get that mic on? You got a mic?
Alex, turn off the timer.
Yeah, no, keep that timer going.
Turn off the time.
All right, so Max, of course, that you were very close friends and also alliance mates with Shireen beginning in Survivor Worlds Apart. You saw her play tonight. Did you spot anything in her game that you thought was a flaw, or do you think that it was just bad circumstances?
Shireen played the exact same game that she played in Worlds Apart. Unfortunately, she didn't have Joaquin to win the second challenge for her. That could have been her in Worlds Apart on day 6 if we had not been able to pull things out in that water challenge. Shireen comes into the game so charged up to play hard. And I knew this time in particular, she was coming in with a real burden of proving herself. I'm not just someone who was voted back in because I was famously victimized on the show, but I'm a player, I'm a gamer. She went in there looking for a scalp. She got probably the biggest one available to her in her tribe, and it immediately put her in the crosshairs. So in terms of, history repeating itself, for me watching that, it was like a slow motion car wreck and feeling the stress of like, no, Shireen, don't do it, just play under the radar, please.
Did you give her any advice before she went back out there to say to her? And you were in the mix also. A lot of people don't remember this. You could have voted for Max Dawson to go back on Survivor. Yes.
Oh no, I didn't give her any. I'm terrible at Survivor. I would never give anyone any advice on how to play.
Yeah, were you in on potential conversations with her about, okay, well, these are the hit lists, or were you guys planning on saying like, hey, this is going to be bad news for both of us if we reconnect in this game?
Oh, of course. We knew immediately that we would have to keep a wide berth from one another. I didn't really think I was going to be out there, so I wasn't that worried. But for me, the biggest concern was that she would end up with a Fishback or a Spencer, and she would just fall right back into that loop.
Did you see anything that she could have done differently this time around?
I just wish she could play under the radar, but she can't. That's why Shireen got cast in the first place. That's why she got brought back. Shireen is aggressive and over the top and irrepressible. That's why I love her. That's why we all love her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except Dan. Dan, of course, hates her, but sorry, Dan. I love Dan. And but no, Shireen needed to play under the radar, but it is not in her nature. And Shireen is one of those people who, if you had her play Survivor 100 times, she would play it the same way 100 times. She doesn't have it in her to play any other way, and it's not because she doesn't understand the game. Francesca, same thing. Because you're that person. And it can go any way. If the circumstances are right, you go out the exact same way you went out the first time you played. Shireen didn't get a chance to get that far, but I'm as much as I love her, I wanted to just say, Shireen, anything first time out.
Wow, harsh.
Yeah.
It's
Not
tough.
harsh.
Tough
Not
stuff.
harsh. I
Yeah.
mean, it just being real.
Max, you went out to Survivor. Very loud, Mike. You went out to Survivor. Professor Max, you're known for being somebody who teaches classes on Survivor. Huge super fan. Before you even went out, you were known in that capacity. You go out early. You go out fourth, fifth. Fifth. I'm so sorry, Max.
Don't screw it.
Don't
we're
screw
very
it up.
sensitive.
But Shireen is somebody who also is a huge Survivor fan, somebody who loves this game. Now she's coming back as an all-star, coming out pre-merge. Tips for her, coping mechanisms, anything like that?
Shireen just needs a break. Shireen's played Survivor for a year.
Was it It was too soon.
Too soon, definitely. For any of us. I mean, not Joe, because Joe belongs out there. He's Survivor MacGyver. Joe should be playing Survivor right now when no one else is.
Haven't there been like 5 Survivor MacGyvers? Like, I mean, how many different Survivor MacGyvers have there been? Hunter Ellis. I
He's
feel
a Survivor
that
MacGyver.
That has been, Ozzy. I feel like that we've used Survivor MacGyver.
Who's
every-
the Survivor MacGruber?
Yeah.
Jason.
Dan? Bless your heart.
Okay. All right. So 4 minutes are up, Max. You stay right here, okay? All right. I want Bryce Isaiah up here. All right. Let's get Bryce. The freakiest freak. Get him over here. Okay. Okay.
Hey, how are you, man?
All right. Oh, hold on. Let's get that bar mitzvah shout out also.
Oh, yes. Alexandra, happy bar mitzvah. Welcome to Know It Alls.
Yes. Okay. All right, Alex. Let me know when another 4 minutes go by. Okay. Here's now. Okay, Bryce is here. We got a nice round of applause for everybody. Loves Bryce. Now, Bryce. Now you got to know Spencer very well from the other side of things tonight. That he could have been the other person to go home. What did you see from Spencer tonight? Because he was very upset, and again, things are not going his way for the young lad.
I think a lot what happened with Spencer is he kind of went the Donald Trump route
Get a little closer to that mic.
as Survivor at the tribal council when his Spencer for president. Like he went ham and saying, "I'm going to do this. I'm here for." Ooh,
Let's make
What
Survivor
just-
great again.
sorry.
Keep Spencer around.
Yes, Spencer. Spencer.
Let's
went
build
in.
a wall between
Yes.
our tribe and their tribe. But that's funny though. That's Spencer.
Yes. He's going to clean their bathrooms.
Yeah. So for Spencer to see things go bad that quickly, did you notice anything different about him this time around than the first time in how he's starting off the game? Because we all know from that Cagayan premiere when he's in good with Garrett and then the rug comes out from under him and then he's like I guess welcome to the bottom.
Correct. I mean, I think he played very similarly. Like I wanted him to stick to his word and be a little butterfly and come out and speak to people. But Spencer couldn't do that. He kind of had to go right into strategics and really kind of play hard. So it was kind of hard for Spencer. But again, he came out, he went to tribal and really fought for us. So I was super proud of him.
Bryce, you and Spencer were at Jatia's wedding. Did he weep openly when Jatia got married?
Wedding.
I think we all did. We all did a little bit.
But this is a new side of Spencer that we're seeing on the show. He's emotional, but it's usually because he's frustrated or angry about something, or he's excited that he won something. This is a very different side of him. Is this consistent with what you know about Spencer in your personal life?
I love Spencer. Spencer's very sensitive, very emotional. I think in real life, I don't think we get to see that part of him. So I think this is a very accurate depiction of Spence.
Now, I don't know how well you know Cass. I'm assuming you know her at least somewhat well.
Yeah, I know Cass.
Do you have beef with Cass? Are you on good terms with Cass?
Me and Cass are on great terms.
I know Max doesn't love Cass.
Cass.
Yes. All right. But that being said, when she talks about how she's gonna be playing this game not as a game bot, but as a person who's an emotional person, do you feel like are you buying that?
I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before Chaos Cass comes out. So,
But she's been really good so far. She really has.
She has been, but I feel like the circumstances are a lot different. She doesn't have a Garrett on her tribe. She doesn't have somebody provoking her as much. So I feel like she's doing good so far, Yeah, no llamas.
Are you surprised that Tasha and Cass have been able to get along so far in that tribe? We've seen no sort of dust up. And you would think they would show it to us if there was anything going on between them.
Well, Tasha is prayed up, so that the saints in the heaven above are really watching out for her. So I think Tasha and Cass, God has blessed them, and we're good for now.
Was that a mistake? Should Spencer have spent more time praying before the season started?
Spencer could have said a prayer or two.
Okay. How are we doing on time? Okay. All right. Max is going to be leaving us, but Max, we're going to play the knockout game. Who's taking your spot?
Let's see.
What Survivor's taking your spot?
Eliza.
Okay, Eliza.
Yeah.
All right, here comes Eliza.
Language.
Before I get
Yeah.
off the mic, can I just say one thing to put in context what Takeo is going through? I'm live tweeting the show. I write something in response to Varner's comment.
Yes.
That, Abby has turned me on.
Yeah.
I get 9 text messages from Abby bitching me out.
Whoa.
I have to explain to her, no, I'm quoting Varner. It was a compliment. Can you imagine starving on the
Context.
beach with this person
Oh,
for 6
God.
days?
Context. Yeah.
Just think
All
about
right.
that for a second.
Yeah, he said that she turns him on. Whoa. How about that?
I
All right,
like
here's
that.
Eliza. And Eliza, we're just going to ask you to
Hey,
try
boo.
to keep it at least somewhat family friendly here tonight.
Okay, I'll try.
So
I'll
here,
do my best.
so here's Eliza. Did we hear it for Eliza?
Eliza!
Okay. Eliza, you have been very adamant from the audience tonight that you were here to defend Stephen Fishback. What is it about Stephen?
Team Fishback.
What is it about Stephen?
Fish back out of water.
And Stephen wasn't thrilled with this show last week in terms of how we depicted
you
him.
guys are, okay, family friendly. You guys are jerks.
Why are we jerks?
Don't criticize our Steven. I mean, he's amazing, and he's
Now-
doing the best that he can.
Of
He's
course,
being
of course.
Steven to the max.
Of
and
course.
we love
Of
him.
course. And we all
no matter what.
And we all love
100%,
Stephen.
of course.
No matter what.
But is it not the spirit of this show in particular to talk about what we see on the show and comment back on it?
Yeah, but Steven is our people.
He's of course.
Steven is our people.
It doesn't.
And he is still
we don't-
blogging on
Comment
people.com
anyone else, but like.
every Thursday. I'm just shouting out his work.
He's blogging. Steven's
It's good
blogging.
stuff.
Yeah. But
Okay.
you can't.
All right. So what is it about Steven that he has done that you're liking about what his game?
Listen.
Was
Steven got put on a
hold on. Was it?
Just say Steven. Steven
Yeah.
got put on a trial.
Hold on. Was it
with
that
the
he was
alpha
working
males.
as closely with the stick last week as you did in Fans vs. Favorites?
Steven, as he said in his People blog, watched all the crazies like Shireen and Abby Maria, and I love these people. And he watched them paddle away, and he was like, but those are my people.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a tribe with fucking Andrew Savage. Sorry, excuse the non-family friendly. I mean, like, he's on a tribe with, like, Jesus-loving alpha males. Like, these are not his people. Like, what is Steven supposed to do?
He is
He's doing
Jewish.
the best that he can. Of
course.
What he's been given, and I am so proud of him, and I love him.
We all love Steven. We all. Yeah. All right. So, who do you think gets the fishy tomorrow?
Terry Dietz.
Terry, do you think you're
I'm
calling
it
it?
right now. Terry Dietz gets the fishy. Terry, like, who was, well, Varner could totally get the fishy. That's a good call,
Yeah.
audience. But Terry stepped out of a role that he's used to. Terry did something that he is like, Terry's like not great at like bonding with people. Like, he's great at winning challenges and, you know, alienating. I mean, like, remember how he was with Danielle? Like, I mean, Terry was like not awesome with people on his first season.
No, he was
And
not.
Terry was like, oh, Abby Maria's upset. Let me go to her and like befriend her. And he like really stepped out of his comfort zone and did great. I mean, he was awesome. And I love
did.
Terry. I really
And I love reading your tweets every season on Survivor. Who's the person that is on your bad list? Is it besides Andrew Savage?
Andrew Savage.
It's just Andrew.
Fuck Andrew Savage.
hashtag
I know this
Don't
is a family friendly.
Earmuffs.
Don't hashtag that.
Hashtag fuck Andrew Savage.
Earmuffs.
Hashtag Team Fishback.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the fishy.
All right, let me get Bryce. Let me get an impartial view. What's been your assessment for Steven so far through 2 episodes?
I mean, I think Steven's getting a little freaky out there, you know.
Yes. Why? Why do you say he's freaky?
You know, it was the coconut, him chopping the coconut in the branches. It just, you know, just got,
I
got
was
a little
impressed with his machete work this week. That was
the
good.
coconut.
Okay. All
I
right.
think just really quickly in Fishback's defense, hanging out in the hammock, that was good stuff. He was doing some bonding.
He did. He had some good moments talking about Joe, and I thought that if you're gonna go into the edit, I think that you could say that they showed at one point Steven was looking like he knew what was going on. So that was good. That was a positive moment.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Look, we are looking for acorns wherever we can find them, and that was good. That was a good moment for Steven.
I think he's in a really bad spot in that tribe, but game sense wise, it seems like he knows what's up.
knows
So
what
this
he's
is a good.
talking about.
Also, with
He's
the
facing a
swap
good.
coming next week,
Exactly.
Steven is gonna be set.
I agree completely. I think he's in a
Anyone
good
who they
spot.
bring over is gonna be helpful
Well,
to
he
Steven.
could end up back with Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's all Bayon, it's no
He
good.
could also end up with Spencer. He could end up with.
Who knows?
He has a lot of
Adam,
options at
Keegan.
Takeo.
Yeah. All right. So Bryce, thank you for coming up here now.
Absolutely.
But who's taking your spot?
Well, I think for debate purposes, I think Dan should come up here.
Okay,
I think
all right.
spice it up.
Dan Foley is here. Dan Foley is here. Okay. All right. Here comes Dan. And I've got Dan to our left and Eliza to my
Family
right. I know.
show.
Okay.
I will not
All right.
fight with him.
All right.
I'm in
All
a
right.
very interesting
Dan,
position
Dan.
physically right now.
Dan, get in here. All right. Dan Foley is here. Dan, how was the edit tonight?
Yeah.
Good edit?
Yeah.
You do a good job with the edit?
Without knowing what happened behind the scenes, I'm not at liberty to comment on
Okay.
such things, but I think it was good for some and not so good for others.
That's a good brothers. All right. Dan, were you happy? Did you take glee in Shireen being voted out tonight?
No. You know something? Just because
I wish you guys could see my eye roll.
Eliza's eye rolling.
wow, I will show infinitely more courtesy than you shall. Just because Max was up for it and some of us weren't, I think anybody can learn. Anybody can learn with a second chance.
I feel like there's a
And
however
this is-
coming.
And this is mine. I do not wish Shireen ill. You know something? She got a second chance. I was hoping she did well only because of loyalty to my own season. Shireen and Joe, they were Worlds Apart members. I wanted to see her do well.
Eliza, you buying this?
She's about to have a stroke. I know she is.
All right.
Listen, I'm not trying to, start shit on a podcast.
Yeah.
Start stuff. I'm just saying,
Continue the trash
Dan,
talk. It's all
Dan,
right. Go
Dan,
ahead.
You were sitting right behind me during the episode, and you were like, "Oh, huge mistake!" When they
Because-
subbed Shireen in for the puzzle, and that's like, she almost came back and won it for them. Like, that's bullshit.
Max, how is Shireen at puzzles, Max?
What am I supposed to say? I don't
Max?
know.
Oh, Max, you
Max,
got to be on the
please.
microphone. We're doing a
To
podcast.
be fair, Shireen is the person you sub out of the puzzle.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Disagree. I mean, I think she did an awesome job. She literally almost won the puzzle. It was the fucking. Sorry. God, I'm so bad at this.
I don't know how-
It was the
How do you act in
facing
court?
the wrong direction. They literally almost won. No, I curse in my job. This is what I do.
Okay.
Thanks, Franny.
Okay. All right. Hold on. All right. I want to get a word in with Dan. So Eliza, we're gonna tag you out. Who's taking your spot?
Francesca Hoagie.
Francesca. All right, here comes Francesca. All right, so Dan, you were. I don't believe you were in there at that moment where Will was going after Shireen, but you certainly lived through it. There were some callbacks to that tonight in the episode. Did you think that there was a parallel to the Abby Maria situation to the Shireen and Will situation from Worlds Apart?
I would think it's foolish to say there wasn't. I mean, it was a complete parallel, but Shireen was on the other side of. She was basically on the side that she complained about, and again, because
I don't see it the same, because I feel like what happened in Worlds Apart was I feel like that Will went after Shireen for whatever the circumstances were in that moment. Again, I wasn't there, but he really went after her, where Abby Maria walked into a conversation that was being said about her. It wasn't people directly, it wasn't like PG and Shireen dressed down Abby Maria.
Absolutely.
And I feel like so it was a little bit of not the same thing that happened, even though I think it's not fair to say that Abby Maria doesn't feel hurt in the same way that Shireen feels hurt.
I think the start of the circumstances were different. I agree with you there. But I think the fallout is what the parallel, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And again, I think that I was not there. Thank God. I was on a confessional.
Yes.
Carolyn was on a confessional, and Will and Rodney came back to camp with the chest, and they looked at Jen, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna have a team meeting back at camp." And Jen's like, "Oh hell no!" And she got out of there as well. So,
all right. Okay, Franny is here now. Franny, of course, give it up for Franny. Now, Franny, you have certainly seen where things go pear-shaped on one of these all-star seasons, where like the ball starts rolling. Yes. So what do you do now? Once the target starts to get on Shireen, is there anything that she can do to wriggle out of that at that point?
I think Shireen was so screwed. She was so screwed. I mean, she screwed herself, but I don't think there's anything. I mean, good for her for trying. Good for her for trying with Wu. I don't know what else she could have done. At that point, it was just too late for her. It was just too late. There was nothing to be done.
Going back to Vetus last week, like, do you have any extra sympathy for Vetus?
I had a lot of sympathy for Vetus. I mean, I think, listen, obviously, I have a lot of sympathy for everyone who's voted out first.
Yes.
I generally tweet at them. I'm like, don't worry, your life's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna come back from this stronger.
Because you also coach people in relationships also, so I feel like that you have like a little bit of like a FrancescaHoagie.com. But I do feel like you do work with people and like in some ways you're sort of like a counselor and a therapist to some people who need this relationship advice. Like do you take that role on? Like do you is that like a nice thing that you get to talk to the people? Or is it like to reach out because I have empathy for anybody who goes out early in these games because I've experienced both things. Like I know I've experienced like going far and also not going as far.
Yeah.
So I do have an empathy for the people and so for people like Vetus, for people like Shireen, do you actively seek them out, or is it like if they reach out to you, but if not, then you really don't?
Oh, well, in the case of Vetus and Shireen, yes. And, I mean, Shireen's someone that I've already had contact with, so, yes. But, I mean, not every single season, because some people I'm like, yeah, you suck.
You deserve it.
So, I don't automatically love people just because they went out early.
Okay.
Put it that way.
All right. Dan, any parting words?
You guys kept talking about Spencer and similarities between his game. I just found it very ironic that in the very first episode, he kept talking about, I am not going to treat people like chess pieces. And yet, all he talked about was numbers. All he talked about was strat. I thought that was, I don't know, maybe I was the only one that caught that, but I just thought that was a little disappointing.
It's hard to change who you are.
What do you think of the decision, Dan? You have history with Shireen. The choices, Shireen or Spencer. Did the tribe get it right by getting rid of Shireen here?
Strictly from a strategic position, yes, because I think that Spencer is going to be more effective in challenges. And at this point, all you want to do is avoid tribal council. You want to do anything you can to stay away from Jeff.
All right, good advice. Dan, who's taking your spot?
Oh, my fellow Maina. Got to get this guy up here. Come on up.
Who's that?
Snowy.
Snowy, I
Snowy,
didn't-
get up here.
Snowy's a Mainer?
Another Mainer. Graduated from Greeley High School.
Mainer's gonna Maine. Wow, here we go. Oh my God, I'm so.
It's a Caramoan reunion
I
on
would have never
stage.
guessed I'd be surrounded by Survivor Caramoan people
Yeah.
tonight. Here we go. Here's Michael Snow. Give it up for Michael Snow. Snowy, what did you think tonight? You had a lot to say about Jeff Varner during the show tonight. Are you you're impressed with Varner so far?
First, I want to say I'm drunk.
Yeah, can I say that too? Can I say that too?
Yes.
Someone.
Thank you, Eric.
Brought us around. It was you.
Eric Stein. Okay, this is an off-podcast conversation. Okay, yes. Back to the story
Varner's
being great.
awesome.
Yes.
Varner's hilarious. He's pulling out the jokes. You know, that's what you need to do out there is be funny, right? You just need to be funny and keeping people like,
That's what I
what's
thought.
that guy saying? Oh, what that guy? He's saying this. Oh, I want to be around him. That's what he's doing, and he's winning.
Do you feel like that?
I think we need to name his tie, though.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
a
weird,
great
that's a weird
point.
look. Somebody compared him to Fred Flintstone recently with the cut off
In
shirt.
fairness, I believe it was Barney Rubble, but
And what's with the tie? Why does he keep putting the tie back on? I haven't seen any survivors like putting the tie back on.
I think
It's his
he
calling
is
card.
I think he is incredibly cool. He's hilarious. Purple is like one of my top 11 colors. But that green tie, I mean, seriously, I'm sorry, Jeff. I gotta call you. That has gotta go.
Okay, all right. Let's keep the Caramoan thing going, Franny.
Oh, can I tell you? Can I
Yes.
tell you something really funny about tonight?
Sure. I would love
Francesca
that.
said to me, we were all giggling and drinking our gin and tonics or whatever, and Francesca said, "Oh my God, but where were you on Survivor?" I said, "Bitch, I slept in the same hut as you."
Is that true? You forgot Michael Snow was on your season?
I did.
I slept under the tarp you won, motherfucker!
even people from Caramoan trying to forget Caramoan.
Yes.
Brought us around the Jameson.
Yes.
And memory fades. I'm sorry. My memory's not
Okay. All right. All right. So let's get Andrea up here. Okay. Here's Andrea. One of our many great Miss Survivors. She's here. All right. Oh my, so it's such a Caramoan reunion tonight. The more Caramoan people are on the stage tonight than at the finale of Survivor Caramoan.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Snowy?
Yeah. All right, Andrea, who has stood out to you so far here in this season? Who are the people that you've liked so far through 2 episodes?
Kelly Wentworth, for sure.
Yeah.
Kelly Wentworth in the house. Like,
She
I
is?
feel that her. No, she's not in the house.
How about her cousin?
But fans are in the house. I feel like her first season, she went through some issues because of her dad, and now it's really her time to shine. And I see a little bit, like, I love Kelly Wentworth because I went through that. My first season, it was, you know, the good Rob.
Mm-hmm. The Boston Rob?
The Boston
Yeah.
Rob, yeah.
Hey.
It was totally like,
The good Rob?
He self-proclaimed the Rob that sucks.
Yes,
all right?
that's fine.
He calls
I'm offended
himself
for my
that.
Rob.
You can just say the Rob that doesn't suck. We know
Rob
who
that
doesn't
doesn't
suck.
suck.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is her season to really shine, and already she found the idol, and she's killing it. So I can't wait to see where she goes this season.
She's my pick.
Yeah.
Wentworth.
You very famously, I felt like, came back and played differently the second time than you played in the first time that you went. Do you see people that you can identify like, oh, they're definitely trying to change things up than from the first time? Because that was a theme tonight of people that are playing the same and that are not having success with that playing that same game.
Definitely, I feel like the old school survivors come back, and I feel like there's been a big shift. Like the first 10 seasons, everything was about surviving. And now, like, we know, like Francesca, we're friends now, all right?
friends
like,
now.
We made amends. I feel like in our season, especially our second season, like the minute you're on the beach, you start making alliances. And it's crazy. And I feel like the old school survivors didn't experience that. So now they're here, the Varners, like they understand like, oh wow, there's been a shift. So I feel like this is their season to really actually like adapt to where Survivor is now. And again, with Sierra, I'm also like Team Sierra. I'm obsessed with Sierra. Sierra and Wentworth, like I'm really excited for those two girls. And so I can't wait to see where they go.
Okay, I want to take some questions from you guys that we've got in. Okay, Josh Spalding, get over here. Get over here. You got a question. All right, here's Josh Spalding. Take some questions from the crowd. Here's Josh. Hey, get up here. Here. I'm holding the mic tonight. Okay.
So my question is, what does Muffin think of all this?
I don't know.
No, really, before they obviously have the, I wasn't expecting the switch, maybe the challenge, the tribe switch. But I'm wondering what do you think Steven, when they continue to win, was actually beginning to maybe like that tribe? Because if they just keep winning.
What do you guys think?
They're just going to keep winning. They're just going to keep winning. He's not getting voted out, right? I mean, the way they were moving, they weren't going to lose.
I don't know. Josh, what do you think?
Every day is a blessing. Every day away from Jeff. Stay away from Jeff for Steven right now.
So, but do you think that there was anything to that Steven might have been saying like, hey, this tribe's going to keep winning. Maybe, let's stick together.
I think that there's people on that tribe that he likes. I do. I don't know that there's an let's stick together thing. Because I do think ahead of the game. I think that he was looking at most of the people at Takeo as the people that he feels he can work with. I think that there's a lot of tribe envy over there. And I don't blame him. I think that the Bayonne people it's a harder group for him to work with.
Okay, here is Allie Lasher. Allie, how are you?
I was told.
Let me introduce you. Allie, okay, sorry about that. Allie, of course, hosts the Real World Road Rules Challenge RHAP Up. Yes. Okay, Allie, what's your question?
I was told I could just tweet my question, and now I'm on the spot. But I made a Goldilocks joke. I said, is Varner playing too hard, or is it just right?
Snowy.
He is playing wonderfully. He really is. He's like nobody is like spying him as like some kind of mastermind right now. At least that's what we're seeing.
Okay, Matt Huff. We got Matt Huff.
Coming down.
There
Here we go.
he is.
And then Alice, give me one more name for another question because we're running out of time. Okay. All right, hurry up, Matt. Hurry up. This is think Price is Right. Hurry up. Come on.
Hustle.
All right, here we go. Here's Matt. Okay. Question?
Yeah, so on your second time out, you got stuck on a tribe with 6 people and kind of got the shaft. Is the same thing going to happen to Steven? Is he going to be Rob 2.0?
Yeah, this 6th tribe isn't all it's cracked up to be, the 6-person tribe.
That
could go wrong, too.
He's at that moment, too, isn't he? You survived up to 3 tribal councils in All-Stars.
I believe it was 4 episodes, Josh. Thank you.
That's a technicality. So Steven's facing the Rob Cesternino crucible now.
Eventually, in 2
He's
weeks.
at the threshold.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks, that's what we're going to say.
I think, Rob, because so much time went on, like there were so many years between the seasons, you think he was trying too hard this time?
I don't know if he's trying to. I think that Steven is in a very bad situation, but I also think that Steven is probably internalizing a lot of, everybody looks at me as this person who's an authority on strategy, and I have to make sure I'm like I feel like he's putting extra pressure on himself that he should try to not internalize as much and just focus on the here and now and what's going on in the game and not be worried so much about what we're thinking at home about what he's doing. But easier said than done.
But Rob, I think that everybody out there has played before. I think everybody is looking at each other as a threat. I mean, when I was out there, like there were 10 people who had played before, and I was like, they knew what they were doing. If I was out there, I'd be looking at 19 other people who know what they're doing. If you're Keith Nail, I'd still think of you as a threat.
Mm-hmm. So I think... Hey, I would too, for many reasons. I think with Steven, these fears you're talking about, Rob, are valid for all the reasons that someone, any of these people who are entering the game, any of one of these 20 people who are entering the game, they do come to this with baggage, and Steven has that baggage. He hasn't played in a long time. He has baggage. He hasn't played in a long time. It's been several seasons. He is better known for podcasting and blogging right now, and I get the point of he shouldn't obsess over that. But it's a thing that people are looking at, and you have to figure out how to disarm that. And I could say from talking to him the day before the game began, he had not arrived at an answer. And I think it's a complicated question to answer. Steven's a really smart guy. I have faith that he can answer the question, but it's a difficult question to grapple with.
All right, one last question here. We have a person in the audience. Eric is his name. Eric, where are you from, Eric?
I am from New York City.
Eric from New York City is here. Okay, Eric, what's your question?
Okay, so I'm a loose family member of Survivor. I'm the walking personification of a second chance this season. It's wonderful for these people, and it's horrifying for these people. This is like a many year nightmare for these people. They have been thinking about this every single day, right? So the game is going to be fast, and it's going to be hard. And we've witnessed it here tonight. Several of my closest friends in the world came up on this podium. And the question is, can a leopard change their spots? Or when you play the game again, you're just destined to do exactly what you did the first time?
Andrea, can the leopard change its spots?
Yes. No, definitely. I mean, but maybe that's not the best thing for you. I know my season, the first season I just followed. The second season I was so paranoid. And I feel like my paranoia ruined me. So I think it can. But, I mean, what, do you disagree?
I think a leopard can try to change its spots.
I think it can, though. I think it can change its spots, but it might be actually dooming for it. I agree. You agree with me?
I do, absolutely.
Dan Foley agrees with Andrea.
Dan Foley agrees, all right.
Wow.
That just makes you look bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That makes me look bad.
Josh, can a survivor leopard change its spots?
I think that a survivor leopard can recognize its spots, and I think that it can like for example, for Andrea, for Cochran. Cochran was himself. He was boo on Cochran.
Eliza is booing.
No, that's the thing we'll disagree on, Eliza. I love Cochran.
I think that Cochran embraces his himself, sunburn and all, warts and all, and he comes in and he.
Is that a shot at Max?
Yeah.
Max, I love you. I think that he comes in, he knows who he is, he plays into that. I think that you can recognize the qualities about yourself and turn those into strengths. I think that's something that he did that was very terrific in his game.
In the history of returning players on Survivor, how many people have actually played a different game the second time? And how many people? Right, and how many people went down to the very same thing that fell them the first time?
A lot. It's a fun season. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. All right. We're gonna start to wrap this up.
I think Tyson's a good example of that, but it took him 3 times.
3 times.
Third time's the charm. I heard that rumor.
Coming Survivor 36.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a hashtag for this episode of the podcast. What's the hashtag, you guys? No, it's not F. Andrew Savage.
Stop.
I don't think you should have swear words.
Snowy, what's the hashtag?
I feel like I have a little bit of power right now.
Yes.
The tie.
Varner's tie.
Name Varner's tie. Hashtag name Varner's tie.
I'm sorry, Rob. I have to defer to Josh.
What is it?
Hashtag name Varner's tie.
Name Varner's tie.
Yeah, let's name his tie.
Like
Fred?
Yeah.
Barney? Yeah.
All right.
Take your pick.
All right, there you go. All right. First off, thanks so much to you guys for coming out here, and this was so much fun tonight.
Thank you guys.
Such a
awesome.
great show. Thanks to all the survivors that have been here. Josh, I know you're getting ready tomorrow morning. You're going to speak with Shireen. Where can people find your interview with Shireen?
That'll be on parade.com, robiswebsite.com/parade. Seek it out. Okay, thank you.
You can follow Josh Wigler on Twitter as well. He's at Round Howard. I'm at Rob Cesternino. We will have our interview with Shireen as well on Thursday. Plus, we'll be doing our podcast with John Carroll. And then we'll be doing your voicemails over the weekend. Jim Rice will be answering your voicemail. So get those. Yes. Eliza loves gym rats.
In an alternate universe, the first person voted out of Survivor 31.
Yeah, yes. Thanks so much to everybody here at Caroline's on Broadway, who have been fantastic to us and been very gracious hosts of the podcast. Anything else?
No, let's wrap it. Let's call it.
Thank you guys so much. It means the world to me that you guys come to these things. We had so much fun.
Isn't it International Podcast Day or
Happy
something like that?
International Podcast Day.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
All right, we're going out after the show. Where's Vanessa? What's the name of the place we're going? St. Pat's Bar and Grill. It's not West 46th between 5th and 6th. Everybody's invited to come on down. Hope you guys can make it. We're going to be there for a while, hopefully tonight, and can't wait. Thanks so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. Love you, Bays.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.